Hi, everybody. We were just waiting a little bit longer. Let more people trickle into our seminar here. But I think we're just going to go ahead and get started now. So thank you all for coming and joining us today. My name is Terran Benedict, and I'm a social media specialist here at Anvil Media. We're a Portland, Oregon-based digital marketing agency. A little bit of background on me. I have over 5 years of marketing experience, social media marketing experience, including content creation, online community management, and influencer reach out. I've developed and managed a lot of social media strategies, across industries of consumer products and B2B. And I'll let my colleague over here introduce himself as well.
Hey guys, so my name is Javier Sanchez. I've worked in social media for about over 3 years, specializing in multifamily industry, tech, and sporting as well. I've worked with a lot of content development, community management, strategy creation, as well as implementation for it. So that's just a little bit of background on me. Moving forward,
yeah, the first thing you want to do before we even start talking about the trends for 2018 that you should be including in your social strategy, you need to audit your current social media presence. And what you need to do first and foremost is, take note of what you're already doing, see what's been working, what's not been working. And we definitely recommend, going through all of your social channels, and identifying issues and opportunities, and just really sticking to the best practices and the current research on social media. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're completely set up to, achieve your goals. Otherwise, what good is your social media doing for you if it's not helping you on your return? So here's a little look at what your social media audit should entail.
So obviously, first things first, you want to understand your goals. You want to see what your company objectives were in 2017, versus whether it was to raise awareness, maybe promote that new blog that you guys just started up, or even drive more signups for your newsletter or anything like that. Whatever your goal might be, you want to make sure that it's clearly stated before you actually start your audit. As this example, pretty much your business goal is a point B on the map. If you don't have one set, you don't really know where you're going. You don't know if you got there or not. And then the next portion that you want to focus on is your KPIs. You want to make sure you have those set. They're clearly defined of what you're measuring your goals against. Pretty much KPIs kind of same thing as the landmarks when we're going back to the map example. There's a lot of KPIs out there. There's a lot of things that you can measure, but if you're not measuring the right thing, then you're not going to know if you actually reached your goal or not. There's a lot of metrics that you can get lost in. And then the next thing is, once you have your goals clearly stated as well as your KPIs clearly stated, and you know what you're measuring yourself against when you're looking at your audit, you want to see what actually performed. You want to know, did you end up achieving your goal? Did you end up getting that lift that you wanted in the revenue? Did you get more subscribers? Did you end up getting more people to follow to sign up for your newsletter? So mostly you want to know if you actually got there or not.
And I think we all love it when a plan comes together, but typically things don't always work out exactly the way we planned. But no setback is actually a bad thing if we can learn from it. So what you want to do is you want to see what deviated from your original plan and why. You need to identify, what worked and what didn't work, and really, figure out, are there different directions you need to go based on, your results, what actually happened. For example, you could learn that your audience doesn't frequent the social channel that you've been putting all your effort and money into. And that's pretty important. It's something that you'll have to look into. But you'll only notice that if you check out, what's worked and what hasn't worked. And then that actually leads into the next part of your analysis, which is, identifying where your target audience is. And it's actually not very difficult to, determine and to figure out where your audience is hiding, because you should already have a really good idea of your customer persona. And what you can do is you can search through these social media channels based on their age range, their interests, their goals, and then you can determine which channel best suits their needs. And one thing to keep in mind is that when you're creating content for all these channels, your ultimate goal is to be providing content for your target audience that's going to delight them and it's going to provide them some sort of value. And then the last thing, no social audit would actually be complete if you didn't audit your competitors as well. You need to know what they're doing. So don't directly copy and paste what they're doing to your own stuff, obviously, but you need to know what they've tried out, what's been working for them, what hasn't been working for them. You know, a lot of the time you can learn more from analyzing your competition social media presence than your own. So always keep that in mind. You know, an example of something to check for: are they running Instagram ads? What's their imagery and messaging looking like? And you know, are they experimenting with video? How so? You know, things like that will definitely help improve your strategy moving into 2018. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, 2018 trends that you should be incorporating. So I'll let Javi take it from here.
All right, guys. So the first trend that you want to focus on is expiring content. Pretty much as it says, Snapchat made it a thing, but Instagram really made it mainstream. Snapchat started out in 2011, and it was pretty much a messaging platform that allowed you to send videos and photos to your friend group as well as your family without eating up your phone storage pretty much, because the content expired in 24 hours. So it kind of gave it a sort of a snooze-you-lose type of take on the content as well. About 5 years later, so recently like last year, Instagram kind of released their own take on stories as well. And it's kind of just taken off from there as well. One of the things is that Instagram's monthly active users just keep on growing month over month. Actually, another piece of news is that YouTube as well has just released their own take of stories as well. It's called Reels, and it's starting to come out just recently as well. So expiring content is definitely a growing thing, and it is something that kind of needs to be included, or well, it is an important factor in any marketing strategy going forward as well.
And then much like the Goonies, video will never say die. Video is only growing. It's the most popular version of content that you can have on social media. And even from a B2B standpoint, 59% of executives would rather watch video than read text. So video is going to be important no matter what area you're marketing in, because your audience is 10 times more likely to engage with video than any other type of content. So video is important. You should always be looking to incorporate video. If you're not doing it yet, then I would seriously set aside time to examine your budget and figure out how you can incorporate video moving forward into 2018. Another trend we just wanted to touch on, because we want you to kind of keep it in the back of your mind, is augmented reality. Now, AR, it's not for sure where exactly that's going to be going for the average marketer, just because it's very new, but it's something to keep your eye on because Snapchat and all these other apps are jumping on AR technology and trying to rapidly develop things for that. So, even Google came out with Google Lens, and they're all trying to jump on top of this, and it's definitely something to continue to read up on and see how that develops, because midway through 2018 or by the end of it, AR could be something that is easily accessible and something you should be incorporating into your strategy.
And then the next thing we're going to talk about is personalization. What it is pretty much there's a lot of content out there, and every content is essentially getting lost. As more people are creating content, and as Facebook is actually declining the organic reach, it's becoming more important to personalize your content and make the user feel like the content is relating to them. As one of the stats is that sorry, I thought I put it up here, but 66% of consumers actually, 66% of consumers say that they're more likely to switch brands if they feel like a person compared to a number. So it becomes really important to make the experience about the consumer rather than the product or getting the sale at the very end.
Javier,
yeah.
Just as a housekeeping question, are you going to share the slides with participants?
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and share the slides with everybody after the meeting, essentially, and we'll go ahead and send them out as well to you guys.
And then just kind of building off of what Javier just talked about, we also can look at interesting versus promotional content. Now, this is the type of content where you need to be aware of how you're coming across, what your voice is like on social media, because social media, really is the projection of your brand's voice and persona on to your audience, and you don't want to come across as a scummy, cheap salesman, somebody who's just trying to make a sale. So something to really look at is sticking to this 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the content you're posting is not a direct promo or sales opportunity. It's not something where you're directly trying to get someone to convert. You're posting 80% of branded, cultural, lifestyle type of posts. Now, if you take a look at these 3 post examples right here, these posts aren't directly trying to get you to buy something. They're not selling you on the product or service. They're selling you on the experience, the lifestyle that comes with that product or service. That's the type of content people want to engage with. At the end of the day, a big thing you want to sell people on is an experience, and definitely that's true with social media.
Kind of going off sales, we all know that it's important to be with, sorry, this wire is going all over the place. As we know, sales it's important to be where your customers are in the long run. And essentially the e-commerce landscape is changing all the time. Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest are actually pretty much blazing the trail for social commerce. And for this example right here, Facebook, actually, this has been around for a little bit, but it's becoming more and more of a big thing, is the shop section on Facebook. This allows you to display your product that you're selling to your consumers, to your followers. What it allows you to do is showcase your product. You can curate as well as show different collections. So as you can see here, the Portland t-shirt collection versus the hat collection, as well as this allows users to ask you questions through Messenger or even a comment or anything like that. So any qualifying questions, maybe asking for a sizing guide or anything like that as well. This also allows more visibility. While people might not know your website or your website might not be mobile optimized, Facebook is, so it's a great place to be there. The other portion as well is through Facebook Marketplace. That actually offers more visibility as your product also shows up in the marketplace as well. Along with that, how I mentioned, you can sell and manage directly from your Facebook page, so people don't have to leave to go to your website to find the product or anything like that. So it shortens the sales journey a little bit, which is great. And then the next great thing is analytics. It's something that we all love, especially here at Anvil. It just lets you know how your product's performing, what people are resonating with, what product's not performing, what you should probably not create anymore or isn't really selling. And then the next one that we're going to go on to is shopping on Instagram. So Instagram, while you're not able to actually make the purchase directly on the app, what it allows you to do is it allows you to tag your product in any post, and then from there send the user directly to the product page or to your website to finish their purchase. This, as well as what Terran mentioned, is you're able to inspire your shoppers by creating interesting content, more lifestyle content that lets them see how the product's being used or how it could be used or how they can picture themselves using it as well as tagging your product in there. That way they're able to just be like, you know what, I want that as well. Let me go ahead and buy it. And so overall, that'll help you boost your sales. And then the last one that I got for you guys is shopping on Pinterest. Pinterest, as we all know, or as I like to use it, is more of a DIY platform. It's something that I like to do on the weekends when I'm trying to find a new project to do. So I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty much my big thing. But it also doubles as a really powerful search engine. With over 93% of users actually using the platform to plan their next purchase, it becomes a really big sales channel. Now, some of you guys may have heard of buyable pins. Buyable pins is pretty much a rich pin that allows you allows users to purchase a product directly off Pinterest rather than going back to your website and having to purchase it through there. So it becomes a great resource to use. It's definitely becoming a bigger thing, especially with Pinterest opening up their ad options. Yeah.
93% of who would use it?
93% of users on Pinterest overall. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So while on that, another great feature that they just released is pin codes. This is Pinterest. This is Pinterest take on QR codes. So what it allows you to do is if you have in-store visitors or just VIPs or anybody else that you really want to push for a certain type of content, you can create a QR code where they can go ahead and scan it, send them to a curated board or a curated pin that you have, and you can help drive them more that way, especially if you make them buyable pins. So for an example, coming up with the holidays right now, if you have gifts under 100, you can essentially create your own gift guide on Pinterest, have the little QR code in your brick and mortar or even via email or anything like that. Somebody can go ahead and scan it, go to that board, see all your products that you have that are under 100. They're all buyable. They can purchase it straight off there rather than having to dig through your website or anything like that.
And then the next thing is influencer marketing. Now, influencer marketing is mainly very, very popular amongst B2C, just because when it comes right down to it, almost 3/4 of consumers are more likely to make a purchase based on a social media reference or referral. And that's really huge. And then this also, though, can be used for B2B. In B2B marketing, there are no roadblocks. There are just challenges and opportunities. You can use influencers in that setting because at the end of the day, you are marketing to a person within another business. And if you have that, persona, that customer persona for who they are, you know who that executive is at that company that you're going to be talking to, you can go out, find some influencers that can help you create some content that's going to help them sway them into doing business with you instead of your competitor. And then as we dive into influencer marketing, the world of influencer marketing, there are 3 tiers of influencers. And the first tier are micro-influencers. And they're very amazing, actually, because while they have very small followings, they have very high engagement rates with those followings. It's a 4.5% engagement rate on average for these micro-influencers that have between 1,000 to 4,000 followers. So while they're going to get you 50 sales here or so, those are steady 50 sales, and these are also people who are 22. These are people who are trusting this influencer's judgment, and they're going to become most likely a loyal customer to your brand. And it's also been tested and noted that these micro-influencers have 22 times more buying conversions than the bigger influencers. So in 2018, definitely look, if you have a smaller budget, look into these local influencers that have between 1,000 to 4,000 followers. They can help you get steady sales through social media. And then the next tier up is the semi-pro influencers. These are content creators, and they can range anywhere between 4,000 to 100,000 followers. And these people, they know what they're doing when it comes to promoting brands and everything. And while they do have more followers, their engagement rate drops a little bit. It drops to 2.4% on average for all of their followers, from all their followers. But the really unique thing and the really cool thing about these semi-pro influencers is that they have what we call tribes. These are people who follow them and they really respect their opinions, and they go out of their way to associate themselves with them. They, will say we're part of so-and-so's tribe, and they really stick behind everything that these influencers say and do. And they go out of their way to change their brand loyalty to whatever this person's brand loyalty is. So definitely, if you want to create an online movement or community, these type of influencers can be big time for you. And then the final tier up, these are the big guns. These are the mega influencers. These are the celebrities, athletes, all those people that we all look up to when we're kids, and then we grow up and we realize they're just people. So these people, they are quantity over quality. All their social posts are not going to be magnificent works of art and things like that, but they actually have millions of followers. And while their engagement rate drops to something between 0.5% or to 1%, that sounds very low, but when you compare it to that's 1% of 1 million followers or 10 million followers, that's a huge chunk of people who are interested in what you have to say and they want to learn more. And then moving on, the next trend is messaging platforms. These are really taking off. Messaging platforms like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, they're great examples of what I'm talking about when I talk about these. And the first thing I want to talk about is the benefits between that one-on-one communication. Is you're getting to talk to your audience one-on-one and give them that feeling of being special and being an individual that you truly appreciate. And that's sometimes overlooked, but that's very important, especially as we move along. We talk about how popular these message platforms are. With Facebook Messenger here, they've grown rapidly over the last few years, and it's reached over 1.2 billion monthly active users. And then going on and looking at some more, you have WhatsApp right there, also owned by Facebook. And they also have 1.2 billion people using that actively monthly. And they also boast 1 billion daily active users on that. So people are very interested in that. And as we look at business intelligence here, they had a study that showed that the top 4 messaging apps are actually have more monthly active users than the top 4 social networking apps. And as all these people are, searching for that more one-on-one conversation with a brand, we have to be able to provide that to them. But we just don't have enough hours in the day to talk to all of these people. So enter chatbots. And I'll let Javier talk more about that.
Thank you. And yeah, as pretty much mentioned, chatbots are a great way to go. According to a study done by Facebook, about 56% of consumers prefer to handle any customer service issue over chat versus over phone. As this trend continues to grow, the need for timely response grows along with it. As we can see by the trend, by 2020, 85% of customer interactions will be managed without a human. So chatbots are pretty much the next thing that's coming for you guys. But like many companies, and as pretty much as Terran mentioned over here, we don't always have time to manage the social inbox 24/7, as people are expecting to get a response pretty much immediately. So this is where chatbots come in. They offer the option for you to offer the option to answer common questions, direct users to resources to answer their own questions, or even alert you of an issue that does require your own attention, where you can respond back to on a one-on-one channel later on. Along with that, chatbots also are great use for content distribution. As I mentioned earlier, Facebook is pretty much declining the organic reach, so it's either you're going pay to play, so you're advertising for your own stuff, or you're finding another way to get in front of your user, your followers, essentially. And this is where chatbots come in. So chatbots let you leverage the distribution of your content by allowing users to subscribe or even get push notifications of new blogs coming out, or maybe your newsletter if you have a RSS feed set up for it as well. So that's one great way to go, and it lets you kind of pretty much plant your stake in your content distribution. And then the next portion is lead generation. Sorry, so lead generation is another great way to go. Actually, one study that I found that was really interesting was a couple months ago, a car dealership utilized chatbots along with Facebook ads to drive more users to purchase their next vehicle or lease a car. They did this by asking the qualifying questions, by promoting features of the selected car through chatbot, as well as driving users to the local car dealership to finish the transaction. Now, this was pretty much successful based on a couple factors. The first one is the two-way communication. Mostly as marketers, when the type of content that we create is mostly a one-way communication. Think of a blog post, for example. It doesn't really leave a lot of room for interaction. It's pretty much you stating the fact, and then pretty much that's it. There's no room for them to be like, but why, or what's going on with it, or anything like that. That's where chatbots come in for that. The second factor is swift action. Pretty much the longer that we take to reach out to a potential lead, the more likely we are to lose them, the more likely they are to find a different solution, or pretty much get in their own head and think, you know what, on second thought, I don't really want this or don't really need this. So by using chatbots, you're able to qualify the potential lead and provide them with a call to action that will continue the conversation. And thirdly is data collection. So as your chatbot's qualifying the lead, all this information is pretty much available for you to reference back to when you reach out to the lead. You can do this. So what this does is it provides a seamless transition between the consumer and yourself by you already knowing the answer to all the questions that they have or what they're looking for, and being able to help them get where they need to get. And then, as I mentioned, this car dealership used social ads for it. So Facebook has released recently a new campaign objective that lets you pretty much send users directly to a message. So you have your ad, you pretty much say what you need to say, and then you send them to the messenger, and that's where your chatbot comes in. Allows you to qualify them a little bit more, answer any questions that they have, and pretty much when they're set and ready to convert, you can either drive them to a call to action, have them call a number, or even submit their information through the chatbot as well, and then you can just follow up offline for them as well. And then I'll hand it off to Terran.
Yeah, so along with all of these social ads, it's also very important to pay close attention to your audience segmentation. And while this is probably more on the paid media side of things, I did want to call attention to this since it required very little actual knowledge of how paid media really, works, all the ins and outs of it. This guy named Larry Kim, he used this inverted unicorn segmentation. It's a fun name. He basically took all of this content that he had, and then put a visual to it, and then worked backwards from there and thought, well, who's interested in my content and who would be interested in my visual? And what he did was he found that liberals would be interested in his content and Star Trek fans would be interested in his visual. So what he did was he used the overlap of those people who both were liberal and were fans of, I think it was Star Trek. It was Star Trek something, like one of the specific ones. I'm not that big of a fan, so I don't remember the exact name of the show, but it's whatever this is from, this image. So what he did was there was about 1 million people, and he boosted the post to just them, and he got great engagement from it because people were fans of Star Trek. They were drawn to the image, they laughed at it, and then they saw what the content was about, and they said, hey, that interests me too, and they went into it. They felt like this was very much content created for them specifically. And then moving on to Instagram shoppable posts. These posts are still rolling out, and they actually just opened it up again to more people in October. So it's only a matter of time before it keeps growing and opening up bigger and bigger to every business on Instagram, where they create these posts where people can immediately see something they like and then just decide to buy it right then and there. It shortens their sales journey, and sometimes when you shorten that funnel so much, it kind of makes it too easy to say no, or too easy to pass up. So that's exactly what you want. And the last part of social ads that I wanted to mention here was Facebook ad targeting. And the great thing about this is that Facebook ad targeting combines CRM systems integration, event RSVP linking, third-party advertising, and mobile sales tracking. So it basically allows you to follow your leads and sales in more places. And in 2018, really look for Facebook ads to try and give Google AdWords a run for their money. While Google in the past has tried to jump into the social media scene with Google+, which was a failure, they're also recently releasing things to try and get back into that social media scene, at least with businesses. And then Facebook, on the other side, is really trying to compete with AdWords. So in 2018, really look to get more involved with Facebook ads because they have been developing them and improving them. And it's just making tracking and audience segmentation so much easier. And then I'll let Javier mention one more thing.
And all right, guys. So the last one is actually Generation Z. So as we move into 2018, the important factor is to consider Generation Z as one of your guys' categories as well. With the higher end of generation moving into the workforce and earning their own disposable income, brands should shift from a millennial-first strategy to a Generation Z-first strategy, as well as focusing on the platforms that Generation Z loves. This includes Snapchat and Instagram being the top ones. In addition to switching your platform focus, Generation Z also differs a little bit from the previous generations, as it's the it's the generation that grew up with the internet and the smartphones already available to them. So what this does, it makes generation a little bit more focused on customer service and the speed of purchasing. So meaning if your site's not really optimized, or they're not really able to get the product as quickly as they want to, this comes down to maybe Facebook Shop or anything like that, then there's more likelihood of losing them, as well as customer service. If nobody answers their questions or concerns, that also becomes a factor to play in.
And so now we're going to get into setting up your strategy for 2018. But first, we need to look back at 2017. We need to identify the big winners from 2017. What really worked for brands in 2017. Number one, video. Video was huge. We already talked about that. Even from a B2B standpoint, executives just want to watch a video. They don't want to read all this copy. So it works for both sides of marketing. Chatbots. Javier talked a little bit about that, how it's improving customer service. What's great is when people go to your social channel, let's say they go to Facebook, chatbot pops up, asks them if they need any help, if they have any questions. It answers all these questions for them, and a person doesn't feel like they're like they have to, say, oh no, I don't want to buy anything, because it's just a chatbot. It's nothing. It's not a real person. So this chatbot can, not bombard them with sales, but rather just give them the information they want, and then if the conversation leads that direction, they can actually direct them to your sales team or your customer service department. And then the next one is mobile tracking. Everyone's on their smartphone these days. If your website's not optimized, to appear properly and load quickly on mobile, then you're in trouble. Mobile tracking's really big. And then personalized content, we talked about that as well. You want people to feel like, your brand has a personality. They're not just talking to a brand or an organization that's looking to make money. They're looking and talking to somebody, they'd like to grab a drink with. So then we also have expiring content. Expiring content, is so big with Gen Z that's coming up and entering the workforce, and it's really taken off. Javier mentioned like Snapchat started it, but Instagram made it mainstream. And Facebook's also jumped on that as well, and they now have Facebook Stories, which is, you know, expiring content. So that was a big winner. You also have automation is always a big winner. That you need an automation tool to just be able to schedule out your social posts weeks in advance. Frees up so much of your time, it's insane. So don't post things in real time if you can avoid it. And then influencers are also huge, and they're only getting more popular. Like I mentioned before, in 2018, look for the micro-influencers to really become top priority for the majority of brands. And then we jump into how can these trends fit into your 2018 strategy? Well, let's go from a B2B standpoint. Let's say you're a manufacturer with an average online presence, you know, nothing to write home about. But what you're really looking to do is see an increase in your leads. So the goal is to increase your leads year over year. In order to achieve these goals in 2018, consider these following steps. You know, look to create very personalized content. As I said before, at the end of the day, you're communicating, you're marketing to a person within another business. So if you can create that personalized content, make them feel like they already know what your business is really about, what your values are, they're more likely to choose you over your competitor. And then chatbots. Also, on your social pages, if you can get a chatbot to grab somebody and answer their questions and enter them into that, you know, sales funnel where they can direct to your sales team or your customer service, whatever they're looking for, that's greatly going to improve how many people come to your social channels and actually give you some sort of value. And then influencers for B2B. I know it's weird, but you know, like I said, it's a person with another business that you're going to be dealing with. So, you know, really stick to that customer persona. This executive that you're talking to, what are their interests? On average, are they interested in, you know, outdoor stuff, all this, and find some influencers that can help you create and mold, shape some content that's really going to appeal to them. And then video, you gotta have video. So get some video into your budget and make that a big point of your strategy. When it comes to content, video's king. And offline market visits, you want to jump onto Facebook ads and really start to fully utilize all the tracking and all the data that they can provide you, because sooner or later they're going to be a direct competitor with Google AdWords, and it's going to be a big head-to-head battle, and you want to be able to fully utilize both sides.
All right, and then with that, we move on to a B2C example. Let's just say that you guys are a retail shop, you have a growing presence online, but you're looking to increase your revenue, essentially, as we always want to. So we're looking to increase revenue year over year. Now, a couple ways that you can do this is by utilizing shoppable platforms, that goes Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and just being able to either curate content on Pinterest to drive users to maybe more boards that inspire them. Same thing with Instagram, or even on Facebook as well. If they decide to check out your social following and just see how well your customer service is, how well you interact with other people, and they see that you have a Facebook shop on there, or they see something inspiring in one of your posts, they can go ahead and buy it right off there as well. So that becomes a really game changer in there. Another thing as well is chatbots. So chatbots, as mentioned, can be utilized a couple different ways. You can use it as customer service. So if somebody does end up having an issue, or they want to know where their order is that they bought off your website maybe a couple weeks ago, you can set up a chatbot to let them know it's on its way. It just left the facility, or it's getting delivered today, or anything like that. Another way as well is doing some content distribution through there, and just maybe pushing them to your new blog that talks about the fall line that's coming up, or how they can utilize product, or how your product is different than your competitors, anything like that. And moving into that, we also talk about influencers as well. Influencers is great for anybody in B2C, as well as Terran mentioned, B2B clients as well, as it pretty much if you end up doing mini or semi influencers, they're just regular people, just like you and me. Consumers are more likely to relate with them and see, oh, if so and so uses this product and they really love it, I'm more likely to love it as well, and I'm really going to enjoy it. So influencers play a really big part, and with that, expiring content does as well, especially with Generation Z and even with millennials, honestly. So mostly just creating that exclusive content for them, letting them know what behind the scenes is at your shop or at your brand, or even a day in the life of the CEO, just letting them know how your CEO interacts with people, how they relate, making it more personable in a way that really drives a lot of brand affinity and overall will drive sales as well. And last but not least is offline market visits. Essentially, the big goal always becomes driving people back to your brick and mortar if you have a brick and mortar. And even in driving them back to your brick and mortar, people are able to see your product. They're able to use it, see how it feels, see if it's really for them or not. And even if not, they're able to talk to a person one-on-one and just get more of an interaction, get more feel for your brand as well. So B2C has a lot that it can do with these trends as well. Yeah. All right, guys, and then, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. If not, our contact information is also up here, and you can always just reach out if you have any questions or would like to talk a little bit more strategy or any of these trends as well.
Just a quick question. Yeah. Show my ignorance here. What's involved in setting up chatbots?
So there's a couple different options in setting up your chatbot. So there's obviously the AI option that's really popular, but it can also be really costly. And that does usually involve some coding, but there is companies out there that do it. There's also some applications that you can use to set up your own chatbot without having to do any coding. It's just a simple plug and play type of thing. And that's something we can always talk about if you want more on one-on-one basis. But besides that, setting up your chatbot, you mostly want to have a strategy behind it as well. You want to set up essentially a sales funnel as well for your chatbot, or just a funnel, a marketing funnel in general. You want to have your top of funnel questions, your mid funnel questions, and your bottom funnel questions that can either drive users down, like further down the funnel, or to content that relates to them as well.
When would they access the chatbot? Would it be from your URL, or would it be?
So there's actually a couple different options. Twitter has its own, Facebook has its own, and actually Facebook Messenger, it's still currently in beta, but they're also allowing you to plug in the Facebook Messenger into your website. So meaning if somebody starts a conversation with you on Facebook or even on your website, they can continue that when they go back to Facebook or vice versa as well. So they can browse your website while still chatting with somebody or chatting with your bot that can answer any questions for it.
So say I'm a customer and I want to buy an SUV.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a car company that makes SUVs out here. How would they put something into one of those medias that would lead to buying their SUV?
Yeah, so mostly, at least in the example for the car dealership that used it, the way that they did is they obviously had a great offer in their Facebook ad that drove people to the Messenger.
To their website.
It actually drove them to the Messenger, to Facebook Messenger. And then from there, the chatbot kind of took over, and it asked a couple questions like, is the car going to be for business or for pleasure? What kind of car are you going to use? Do you do a lot of outdoor stuff, or is it mostly going to be for in-city use? And then it suggested, a couple options of different cars that would essentially fit their lifestyle. And then based off that, it said, are you ready to talk to somebody about finishing your purchase, or do you want to get more information or more features? And based on their response, then it would either give them a phone number or ask for an email or send them to the website where they could see essentially a landing page that would list out all the features of the car as well. All right.
Any other questions?
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and I'll sign off this webinar since I don't see any questions coming in. Sad. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us.